What in the substandard sad excuse of a man made 22 women think that they should follow this guy? Fucking wild. Not only did he amass a whopping 22 spiritual wives over the course of like 3 years, but 10 of them were underage girls, which just disgusting. But he managed to do it because the women in these religions, these high controlled fundamentalist religions, are raised basically from birth to think that they have zero worth unless it is through a man. Also bullshit. Well, in their religions, you can't even get into heaven unless it is with a man. And honestly, this goes back to regular LDS Mormon as well, because when you go through your temple, you're given your secret name that only your husband can know, and then when it's time to go into the afterlife, he will whisper that name and then pull you through the veil into the celestial kingdom. Keep that in mind, because that is going to be important when I start talking about this showboating asshole. And if you don't think there are similarities between the two, just remember the time that he did this for 6 whole minutes. Why? I don't know about you, but it's really giving Samuel Bateman running through the woods saying, "Watch me hike," like he's Stuart from Mad TV. But yeah, I just really think that he was following the blueprint that Kody Brown was attempting to do and was failing at miserably. And I'll tell you why. Because this asshole amassed his wives over a short period of 3 years, had them all working, doing manual labor, tough jobs, while he sat at home doing absolutely nothing. And who does that sound like? This guy. Do we even know what his real job is? No. We know what the wives did. We have no idea what Kody did. But the reason I say Samuel Bateman was following the attempted blueprint of Kody Brown is because Samuel Bateman was active from 2019 to 2022. What happened the year before? 2018, the Browns moved to Flagstaff, Arizona, 3 short hours away from where the Batemans would eventually set up. He referred to his group of followers as the Samuelites. What did we see on every mission statement and every house hung in Vegas? The Kody Brown family. So keep in mind that Kody and Robyn would eventually go on to name their trust that their current house is under the Whitestone Trust. Now, a Whitestone ceremony is a spiritual, meditative ritual often held at the start of a new year to set intentions symbolizing a clean slate and personal transformation. I got this off Google. Participants receive a white stone and meditate to identify a word, name, or phrase guided to their higher self to represent the intention for the coming year, which is then written on a stone. It's inspired by a book of Revelations, which mentions receiving a white stone with a new name written on it, symbolizing a new life and freedom from the past. Sounds like some Kody and Robyn bullshit, right? The significance is that it serves as a personal, tangible reminder of one's commitment to personal growth and spiritual alignment, often seen as a pledge of support from the divine. That sounds kind of familiar, right? So how does all this tie together? Personally, just my opinion, all alleged, I don't think the Browns really moved to Flagstaff because of Dayton going to college. I think that was how he got Robyn on board. I think that was his rationale of that specific destination. But I think his motivations were really just to uproot everyone and get them back under his thumb. I think he saw the wives living their own lives in their own houses with their own assets that he didn't have any claim on, and thought, no, that's not going to work for me anymore. They were getting too big for their britches, a little too independent. And what's the difference between Samuel Bateman's wives and Kody's wives? Their level of independence. By the time we met the Sister Wives family, they'd all been out into the real world for 16 years, and then it just progressed from there. A lot more exposure than what Samuel Bateman's wives on the compound had. So Kody needed to uproot them all, get them somewhere where he had the control again, because men like this in this religion, it is all about the control. So what's he do? He gets them all to sell their homes and put all their money into one plot of land in Arizona. And yeah, he's got his name on the entire thing. He has the control over all the money once again. And I really think that he thought he could make his own compound where he was the one that was in control again, because he had lost that control. And if we know anything about the teeny tiny little men that are in these types of religions, they want that control. The difference is Kody's wives were more independent than Samuel Bateman's wives. They knew what they were doing at that point. They had it figured out. It still took them a hell of a long time to be able to fully break free, but they were well on their way at that point. this guy's wives, they just weren't there. And they needed that external help of Christine Marie to make it happen for them. And good for her for doing it. But yeah, if he had been actually successful, I do think we would have seen Cody starting his own church. I think it would have been the Whitestone Church. I think that's why he named his trust the Whitestone Trust. And I think it could have all ended up a lot darker than it actually did for the Browns. Tell me what you guys think in the comments.